Hello, this is Still Waters. Welcome to Top Story Tarot. Uh, Today we're just going to do an energy check in. I haven't started doing pick of cards yet. I think once I get me a home base, I'll do pick of cards, but I'm not really in a place where I feel quite ready to do that. I feel like it wouldn't be it it, it it's complicated to do pick of cards. They take a lot longer. Um, and I'm not really in in the mode where pick of cards are really feasible for me time wise. I'm going through a lot of different transitions, and it's I'm still doing tarot card readings in my car. But I want to get back into it because I really want to start and go further and deeper into this flow state because I'm in that crossroads phase that we've been talking about. Now, I did do a video a day or two ago, um, and I decided that I was going to do it while driving because I was really busy, and that didn't work out with the audio. So I decided to scrap that video. But that in that video, basically to sum it up, as in our previous video that I did upload, it came right back around to basically the same message, which is we're at a crossroads period and we need to figure out what our next steps are, even if that's really confusing at this time. So we go through phases in our life where sometimes we know exactly what the next step is. We know exactly, we're tuned in to our purpose. And there are times in our life where we lose touch with that. And that's kind of what I'm going through right now. So I already pulled the cards because I didn't want to waste too much time fiddling around in my car trying to pull cards. So let's just get right into what we have. So again, I don't know why I keep getting Vesica Pisces. We got this the last time. We got this when in the video that I scrapped. Did we get Vesica Pisces? I think we got something very similar. But yeah, we got Vesica Pisces again. So finding our center, centering ourselves in the vortex. Oh, and then I realized it's Leo season. My husband is a Leo and his birthday is in a couple days. We're in Leo season. And in order to get yourself centered, as we spoke of before, we need to focus on our physical body, our physical presence, the vessel, the car, the vehicle that that our spirit sits in. And in order to feel grounded in spirit and in our purpose, we need to feel grounded in our bodies. And that's really important. And that's the perfect place to start. And I've been slacking a lot this past week or so. Just the past week or so, I've been slacking because I was doing really, really good. I was actually going to the gym pretty much every single day. Um, and even on days where I didn't feel like it, I still kind of put myself in those doors. That's the hardest part for me, is just getting in those doors. Because once I'm in there, I'm good. I do a lot of calisthenics and stretching. I don't push myself really hard with the weights at all. Um, I feel like it's better to work on the things that I feel need work, which is physical pain, stretching, um, a lot of stretching and a lot of just working on the areas that need attention, as well as cardio, which needs attention, and I do some lightweight training. I don't really push myself too hard, And a great thing about my gym is that it has, water modalities, hydrotherapy modalities, which is just, water. A lot of gyms don't have that. A lot of people go to like Planet Fitness, where the only thing they have for that is the black card. If you have the black card, you can do the water hydro massage thing, which is great. It's wonderful. But if you can go to a gym that actually has a pool, a sauna, a steam room, a jacuzzi, which my gym has all these things, it makes such a huge difference, especially if you're dealing with, physical ailments, aches and pains, health issues. This will do wonders for your body. And if you can't get a hold of things like that, try to look for them in even at home. Try to create those situations at home, even just standing in the shower with really hot water and just letting it drum on your back really hard. Turn it to the highest setting where the water really shoots out and drums on your spine, your core. That really helps to take away and to soothe you from the stress of the day. Um, but yeah, let's move on to their next card, which is the Arcturians. Feeling safe, wisdom keepers, and concern. Okay, that's the Arcturians. I don't really like showing grays. Um, but yeah, feeling safe. Feeling safe. That's interesting. Wisdom keepers, concern. Okay. So let's see what can I glean from this image. So this Arcturian green alien is speaking with, it looks like just a regular person, and they're having a cup of tea, and there's their beautiful garden outside. So what I'm getting with this is self-care, physical self-care, mental self-care, um, getting enough sleep, chamomile tea. This is something that is definitely for me, because I was in the store, in one of those stores where they have like a big long line, and as you're walking down the aisle to get to the checkout, they have a whole bunch of crap that entices you. And some of it was, and I try not to look at like the candy and the junk food and all that stuff. I don't really like a lot of junk food anymore anyway. They just don't work with my stomach issues. But I did see teas, and there was like a organic sleep aid tea that had chamomile and I think some kind of willow root or bark. Or I don't know. I don't know too much about the herbs, that what they do health wise, but um, and I'm kind of strapped for cash right now, so I ended up putting it back on the shelf. But and also the reason that I felt that it wouldn't work anyways, because I'm way too lazy to make myself a cup of tea. It's really hot. It's the dead of summer right now. It's super hot. I don't want to drink hot liquids. I don't like drinking hot liquids anyway, unless I'm freezing cold. Um, and then actually having to make myself a cup of tea, heat the water, blah 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 blah. I just thought, no, this is gonna end up collecting dust on my shelf, so I just left it there. But that seed was planted, just from being in that aisle. That seed was planted that I need more sleep. So that's what I'm getting from that. I think self care, feeling safe internally, self soothing, um, reducing our anxiety and our anxious response and our hackles, making our hackles go down, self soothing, even especially when the people around you, the people in your life, are not that way. They're like, their hackles are raised, they're freaking out, they're being dramatic, and you're trying so hard to keep your center. Or maybe you're the one that's, got your hackles up all the time, and it's negatively affecting others, those around you, your children, your animals. Especially, children and animals are very vulnerable to the energy around them. And this is just a reminder that you're safe no matter what's going on, no matter who's around you, no matter what's going on. Keep your center, keep your Vesica Pisces. Stay in the middle of the vortex. Don't get spun. Don't get spun. Stay in the vortex. In the middle of the vortex where it's calm and peaceful. That's you. That's your center. And that way you can observe everything that's going on around you from a more peaceful, calm, and wise place. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we got King of Swords energy. I got this before, King of Swords, so yeah, that's the one who lead the ultimate leader, very wise person, very strong person, um, scary, but a great leader and a um, great intellect, great mind. Very smart, very quick thinking, a strategizer. Strategy at this time is really important. You have to be 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. And I'm gonna go right back into Naruto because I'm not in a Naruto marathon, but I'm watching a reaction to Naruto, and it's just reminding me of like all these characters and what they represent. And there's this character in Naruto called Shikamaru, and Shikamaru is very lazy. He doesn't want he doesn't want the job that he has. He doesn't want any job. He doesn't want a relationship. He doesn't want all these things that just like it's just it takes so much effort. It takes so much work. Anything that takes effort and work is like not even worth it to him. He would rather be a cloud. He'd rather float and be light and not have any worries or any cares or have any, problems or things to think about. However, he's an incredible strategist, better than anyone else in the village. I mean, he is so good at strategy games, and so he becomes a squad leader because he can think 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. And at this time, that is something that we have to sharpen is our intellect, and we have to learn, you know, that we can strategize before the problems become so severe that we can't figure out how to even beat our way out of it. So I think that's what that represents right there. And that's very helpful. It's very helpful to realize that we do have that intellect and that wisdom inside of us. We just need to keep it sharp. Okay, so we have Eight of Swords reverse. So yeah, we're coming out of that, that energy. It's time to cut through that feeling of not knowing, what our next step is. Maybe we don't have to have a really clear vision. Maybe we don't have to um, know exactly what our goal is. Sometimes it's okay to rest and not have a goal for a while. Maybe our goal right now, just like a bear in winter, their goal is to just not do it, not do shit. Their goal is to rest and get through the winter. They did all the hard work, and now it's time for rest. And that's a good time to strategize and to come up with ideas and to come up with a plan. Um, yeah, we have double energy here, so at this time it can get even easier to procrastinate, to um, decide, what, I'm just gonna ignore this stress, this worry, these problems, these things pressing down on me. I'm just gonna ignore it, and I'm just gonna indulge in the things that make me happy. And that's great. But are these things really helping us, or are they further adding to the pile of burdens that we already have? If we're just being lazy, if we're ignoring phone calls, texts from people, if we're ignoring our physical problems, our bodies, we're indulging too much in food, sex, drugs, whatever, addictive things, our phones, Netflix, or video games, or whatever that, whatever your vices are. Um, this is an important time to start to release some of that and to figure out, maybe part of our strategy is figuring out what our addictions are and what holds us back, the things that hold us back. And one good way to do that is to journal or to write about it, or even just to do automatic writing, which, I have a book here where, right next to me, where I can write or draw or sketch, or, even just do like channeling, like automatic writing, just scribbling, scribble, 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 and then see what image comes up, what pops up for you. I was gonna do that. That's why I had this book here, but then I forgot about it. So we'll skip that for now. Um, okay, so there's some flashcards here that I made. Okay. All right. What's this one? Okay, yeah. So I've personally been in moon energy for quite a while, and that's what this is. Really, that's what we're dealing with right now, and it's still what is it? It's still Mercury retrograde. But I was feeling this even before Mercury retrograde. When I found out it was Mercury retrograde, I was like, I thought it already was, and that it was time to come out of it. But we're in it right now. So, um, is it still recording? Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, so we're still in these unclear kind of like um, things are not working out, and things are not clear, and everything's really confusing, and there's a lot going on, and it's hard to stay centered and grounded at this time. It really is, because things are kind of hidden from us. Um, for example, a big chunk of my income was just wiped away. And it wasn't instantaneous. It wasn't instantaneous. It was just little things, all these little things were happening. I would say over the past, from the beginning of the maybe year, maybe the past like 3, 4 months, it's been difficult and getting more and more difficult. That's another thing will happen, and another thing will happen, and then there's tariffs, and then there's, you know, things that kind of like thwart, and it almost makes you feel, or it really does make you feel. For me, I started to feel like maybe it's time to stop doing this, because honestly, and the way the universe works is it will give you exactly what you're thinking and what you're feeling. It will give you more of that. It will give you more of that. And in order to do my business, it was getting harder and harder for me. Physically, it's always been hard for me, because there's a lot that I have to do physically in order to set up for it. And um, I have like a spiritual pop up shop. I do different shows and stuff. And I had my main show that I do every week, and that show, um, it, we ended up losing our venue, and so we had to kind of scramble to get another venue. Meanwhile, I was dealing with not being able to get my products, and not being able to afford a lot of my products, because I wasn't making as much money. People aren't spending money as much, and it was starting to get really bad. And then suddenly we lost the venue. We had an incident and we lost the venue. So then the coordinators trying to scramble, and they got us another venue, but this venue is with the state, and the state wants more money, more money, more money, more money. And they ended up, first they doubled the rent, and then they tripled the rent. And I just found out today that they tripled the rent, and I said I can't do it. Just, it's not, this is it, kaput. And I don't feel like my business, which I really adore, is kaput. But what I was saying is I was feeling it in my body. Um, it's very difficult for me, my partner. It's difficult for my dog. It's difficult, for us to, even with this van, I'd have to bring my dog with me, and it's very hot, and so I'd set up all these fans for him so he'd be comfortable. I mean, it was just starting to get where it's like, this there's so much suck, but I have to embrace the suck, and I have to go, and I have to do it because I need this income. I absolutely need this income. And I'm trying to step away from that kind of thinking, that fear of like, I need this income, and I know I need it. My bills are here. My bills are like screaming at me, but at the same time I'm trying not to freak out about it. I mean, what's gonna happen? I'll lose this van. I mean, things will happen, but I'll still be me. I'll still be okay. So I'm just try to stay positive and try to think that something's going to present itself. I'm doing a lot of praying. I'm doing a lot of meditation and strengthening the core, strengthening the body, and getting stronger. That will help immensely with this process. I believe. I have to believe it. Naruto, believe it. Believe it. Okay. So yeah, we got Knight of Pentacles energy. Hard work, staying the course, being present, being really strong and steady and um, you know unwavering in your conviction for things. That's good too. That's important. And I've been trying, but I'm also not going to stand in the way of what guidance is telling me, because guidance is telling me, well, maybe this isn't for me, because it's really hard to to do. It's really hard. Even though I love it, I don't love it. I don't. So maybe this isn't the right thing for me. And I have to figure out what is the right thing for me so that I'm okay. Because that's all I really want, is to be okay. And realizing that I am okay. Why would I think that I'm not okay? Because I can't afford this, that, and the other. That's kind of normal. And that's not something for me to get bent about. So yeah, we can be let's strategize, be committed to our goals. If we're really true and we know what our goals are, be committed to them, and we need to strategize and get strong in our core. Okay, let's move on really quick. Um, yeah. Okay, so I found this deck just in the back of my van. I've never used it before. I don't know what it is. I just like, oh, some deck, random deck that I found somewhere, probably at a thrift store. But, it's like a magic spell deck. Okay, so the rite of passage, dedicating oneself, should be performed anytime after your day. Blah blah blah. Initiation. Okay, initiation. Proud. Okay, that's a weird card. I don't get it. Sometimes I don't get it. Um, okay, so let's think about this one thing. So an initiation. Initiation. Yeah. I think we're feeling the disconnect. So we're not feeling part of something. This is more about union, about um, having support, and having, um, and really stepping in to the light, stepping into the light, being blessed by the light, presenting your offering. This is what I'm getting, presenting your offering, and then stepping into the light, and just everything becoming clear, like all the shadows get torn away, the shadows from your past, all that past um, learning, all that past judgment, everything that you absorbed from your family, from school, from the people around you, from the media, from just all the things that have influenced You can't go through your initiation carrying all that weight, all that burden, because that stuff is a burden. You know, all your little prejudices, labels are a big one. That's a huge one because people really identify with the labels that they hang on themselves. You are not your labels. You are not. You are spirit. You are divine. You have nothing to do with all those things. You know, those are things that might make you unique. You know, the things that attract you, the things that you like, and you like to, you know, you might want to hang that hat on yourself and say, this is what I am. But that's not what you are. When you were birthed into this body, you were naked. You weren't birthed a goth. You weren't birthed a Republican or a Democrat. You weren't birthed just, you know, in full regalia of whatever culture that your parents came from. You were birthed completely naked into this world. Just, boom, you know, naked, covered in ectoplasm. The universe popped you into existence. And then the world, you know, swept you up into different directions. And you were like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. And then you start hanging labels on yourself. You need to shed those things. It's time to shed those things so that you can go through your initiation into spirit, into pure spirit, and your pure, the purpose of your spirit, because there is a purpose to your spirit. Yeah, because you are divine spirit. That's exactly what you are, divine spirit. Yeah. So so you have to connect, and if you can't connect to a group, if you can't find a group to be a part of, or um, you know, you can connect to yourself because you are spirit. You know, when I read this initiation card, um, there's like, it just looks like it reads as very culty, so maybe I didn't really identify with that because culty stuff is a huge turnoff for me. But being part of things is good too. You know, being part of groups and stuff is really good too. But remember that you don't really need that to be part of something because you already are. You're already part of it all. You are already a part of the all of divine spirit. And that's all you need. So the stress of all this stuff like bills, bills, and um, maintenance of the things that you use, the tools that you use, um, and maintenance of yourself to keep this body healthy. It's costly to, you know, if you have children or pets, it's costly. You have a vehicle, it's costly. You have a home, it's costly. To be here, there's a lot of cost. Cost. How can we dive more into that? The cost. Counting the cost. Yeah. There's something deeper here, and I'm not quite putting my finger on it right now. Maybe that's something for another time. I really don't know where this reading was going, but it was just like staying centered. We're still in that shifting in and out of the vortex. And we need to stay centered. You know, we need to try to diligently and strongly, even rigidly, just stay in our center, in our core, and strengthen our core. Because that will help us. It will help to guide us to the answer to that we seek. Because my concerns and my worries are really kind of burdening and pressing me right now. And so The reason why my focus is kind of there. Um, but this message could apply to whatever's going on with you, whatever answers you seek, because you wouldn't be seeking these answers if everything was going all hunky dory for you in your life. You'd be like, why do I need that? Everything's great. Um, but yeah, hopefully this helped. And then I'll, you know, maybe next time we'll get more of an answer. I'm gonna do some automatic writing and some artwork and stuff and try to think about what it really means to count the cost. So that'll be for next time. Aloha.